to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'm going to dive right into resolutions. Be it resolved to accept minutes for meetings held on August 23rd, 2022 and September 13th, 2022.
I'll second that. I've sent Jackie an email with some update requests.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved to accept the town clerk's report. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Be resolved to authorize payments of ordered vouchers in the amount of $338,921.28.
Second.
Write that down. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved to authorize transfers for transfer sheet. All in favor?
Aye.
Whereas the Woodstock Town Board wishes to amend the Woodstock zoning law to permit public libraries in LI districts. Whereas the planning board reviewed and made recommendations to that zoning amendment proposal, and whereas the Woodstock Town Board received from the Ulster County Planning Board their review response, whereas the supervisor completed a full environmental assessment, whereas the Woodstock Town Board held a public hearing on August 23rd, 2022, where public comment was taken. Now therefore be it resolved that the Woodstock Town Board, 1, closes the public hearing, 2, declares the proposed action will not have a significant negative impact on the environment, 3, adopts local law number 2 of 2022.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Was it be it further resolved along as part of that?
Oh, excuse me. Be it further resolved to request the town clerk file local law number 2 of 2022 with the state and forward negative declaration to the Ulster County Planning Board, the Woodstock Environmental Commission, posted on the environmental notice bulletin.
So still seconded.
This is a separate resolution.
Oh, is it a second?
Yeah, I'll do it in 2 since it wasn't, but
It
okay.
is now. Gotcha.
All in favor?
Aye.
Whereas a local law entitled Local Law Amending Chapter 162 of the Town Code, Town of Woodstock, was introduced before the Town Board of the Town of Woodstock on May 24th, 2022, and upon notice duly published and posted, the public hearing was open and held on June 21st, 2022 at 7:15 p.m. before the Town Board. Whereas it said public hearing, members of the public were given an opportunity to ask questions and make comments of the proposed local law. And whereas the public hearing was subsequently recessed to the call of the chair, and whereas the local law number 3 of 2022 would amend chapter 162 of the town code so as to, among other things, add a new section 162-12, setting forth disciplinary hearing procedures applicable to charges made or preferred against any member or members of the Woodstock Town Police Department. Whereas the local law number 3 of 2022 is hereby determined to be ready for adoption. Now therefore be it resolved that the public hearing open on June 21st, 2022 is hereby closed. And be it further resolved that local law number 3 of 2022 is hereby adopted, and be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed to enter said local law number 3 of 2022 into the minutes of this meeting and give due notice of the adoption of said local law to the Secretary of State of New York.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Just let me see where this one ends. Whereas pursuant to 6 NYCR Part 617.14G, the town board may designate a specific geographic area having exceptional or unique environmental characteristics as a critical environmental area. Whereas the town of Woodstock Environmental Commission has recommended Xena Woods be designated as a critical environmental area due to its exceptional and unique environmental characteristics, and whereas the proposed Xena Woods critical environmental area is set forth in a map entitled Town of Woodstock Xena Woods Proposed Critical Environmental Area, the Xena Woods CEA map. And whereas to be designated as critical environmental area, an area must have an exceptional or unique character covering one or more of the following. One, a benefit or threat to human health. Two, a natural setting, example, fish, wildlife, habitat, forest and vegetation, open space, and areas of important aesthetic or scenic quality. Three, agricultural, social, cultural, historical, archaeological, recreational, or educational values. Or four, an inherent geological, ecological, or hydrological sensitivity to change that may be adversely affected by any change. And whereas the Town of Woodstock CA Working Group, including members of the town board, planning board, and environmental commission, staff of Woodstock Land Conservancy, prepared a narrative statement proposing the establishment of the Xena Woods critical environmental area, an area that encompasses a large forest to the east of John Joy Road and Xena Road, and includes portions of the Bluestone Wild Forest. And whereas the Woodstock Planning Board made reviews and commented on the proposal, whereas the Woodstock Environmental Commission hosted two informational meetings on March 15th, 2022 and May 18th, 2022 for the residents and property owners within the Xena Woods critical environmental area. And whereas a duly noted public hearing was held on June 21st, 2022 and reopened on August 9th, 2022, during which all those who wished to speak were heard and their testimony recorded. And whereas a map of the proposed Xena Woods critical environmental area was available for public review at Town Hall, posted on town website, included as an attachment to announcements mailed to the residents of Woodstock, the Xena Woods critical environmental area, and was available for examination at public information sessions. Whereas the town supervisor prepared a short environmental assessment form, now therefore be it resolved that the Woodstock Town Board hereby, one, closes the public hearing. Two, declares the proposed action is an unlisted action and will not have a significant negative impact on the environment. Three, designates the Xena Woods critical environmental area pursuant to 6 NYCRR section 617.14G as set forth in the CEA map attached here to and including the attached list of tax parcels. Or directs the town clerk to file copies of this resolution, the narrative statement, the CEA map, and a list of tax parcels in her office with the commission of the DEC, with DEC Region 3, and with the Woodstock Planning Board. 5, directs the Environmental Commission to include the map of the Xena Woods critical environmental area in the Woodstock Natural Resources Inventory.
Second.
Janet, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nay.
Resounding second.
Okay.
Was that 4 to 1?
You were,
3-2.
Leave.
Passes. Congratulations, guys.
were you in there? You were there.
Be it resolved to amend resolution 138-2022, creating a complete streets committee to permit an alternate who may vote where quorum is required. And be it further resolved to make the following appointments to the complete streets committee. Mary Smith, term to expire 12/31/23. Howard Cohen, term to expire 12/31/23. Kristen Kessler, term to expire 12/31/23. Jackie Guillermo, term to expire 12/31/24. Robin Collins, term to expire 12/31/24. Ron Rechtschaffen, term to expire 12/31/25. Grace Murphy, term to expire 12/31/25. Jim Bogner as an alternate member, and be it further resolved to appoint Grace Murphy chairperson.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I think that's that. Oh, I'm gonna butcher this name. Oh, no, okay. Be resolved that Vanderwater and Vanderwater LLP and Kyle W. Burnett Esquire of Council is authorized to enter into a consent order and judgment in the form attached, settling a tax certiorari proceedings brought by Nicole Collagian against the town of Woodstock for the tax year 2021, and to sign such other and further papers as necessary to effectuate said settlements.
Second.
All in favor?
Well, is there more that we want to talk about this?
If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
The tax sectorial proceedings broke my niggle cooligan. I guess I'm not sure if you and I talked about this.
So he disputed his tax assessment. They went back and forth.
Property tax.
There was a house built on the property. So the assessor assessed the value of the house. He's claiming that the house is unlivable. And he shouldn't be taxed and is in a lawsuit with the builder at the moment. Our attorneys, his attorneys, our appraisers, their appraisers went back and forth, and this is the settlement. None of us are happy about it.
Right. Okay.
Collagen probably is, but
Okay, thank you for the update for the.
the recommendation is that from our attorney and from the
way to
assessor.
go.
Yeah.
Sounds good, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mhm. Okay. This is the name of the lodge. Be it resolved to make the following appointments to the Commission for Civic Design. Peter Runkowitz. So I'm sorry, Peter. Term to expire 12/31/2023, and Michael Beach is alternate for the year 2022.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Be resolved to authorize the supervisor to sign a grant application for a pilot composting program.
Second. We're all
Oh,
second.
wow.
We're all jumping on that.
Very eager. Wow.
I think I heard everybody. Did I hear it, Maria? I think you said it.
It's a
I'll
good
take
second.
this one. I have.
Oh, I think we all want to.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved to schedule a town board meeting for the budget presentation for October 3rd, 2024 at 4 p.m. at the town offices, 45 Como Drive.
I'll second it. I will not be there, as you know, but
Okay.
we'll try to talk if possible.
All in favor?
Aye. What time is that, Bill?
4 o'clock. It's going to be a quick meeting.
All right, it's presented.
Yes. I'm going to have one resolution on there though, but I'll just, I didn't get this in time. We have two Dominics that work for dispatch. Dominic Nichols, who is full-time, but is leaving for a position he's been trying to get in with the Sheriff's Department, and he finally made it. So he'll be going over to the Sheriff's Department. We have Dominic Pollock Castro, who is a part-timer who Lori would like to make a full-timer. He would be starting prior to our next meeting. So I just wanted to bring this up. If anybody has any questions before October 1st, that's when he'd be starting. Please let me know. Otherwise, I'll offer that resolution on the 3rd at that meeting.
Now, is this the October 3rd? Is that where everybody who wants to present their
No.
budget?
No. So what happens at the 3rd is simply the presentation. I have to give the town clerk the budget.
Okay.
She then presents it to the board. It's very official. It's like the Queen's funeral. And
Just like that.
just like that.
Exactly.
Minus,
Wait to see that.
minus the flowers.
Elton John's gonna sing?
He is. Gonna have a tape.
Okay.
At that point, the supervisor usually presents a short budget message explaining where we're at and why we're there.
Mhm.
And then I ask you each to come with your calendars, because the following week, usually we schedule 3 meetings. They will be during the day.
Mhm.
Typically, so the next week is Columbus Day. That Monday is off.
Mhm.
We would probably do a meeting like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday
Of the following week.
of the following week.
Columbus Day week.
But we'll set that and we'll set the times on the October 3rd meeting. But again, bring your calendars so we can figure that out. We usually do 1 or 2 meetings in the morning and then the other one in the afternoon. And we have all the department heads and different groups come in at that point. And they come in individually. So when I know the dates, let's say it's Tuesday at 9, Wednesday 1, and Thursday at 9,
Mhm.
I put that schedule up and everybody fills in times.
Okay.
Okay, and you still have, I sent you an email with mine,
I
so
did.
you're good.
Yes.
Okay.
Um, So we're good there, we're good there. Okay, council member updates. 5 minutes. Who wants to start?
I'll be quick because I just have one from CSAC, just a reminder that they're proposing a workday, they're scheduling a workday for Saturday, October 22nd.
October 22nd.
Yes, to move some stone and get some chips out and cutting some of the invasives out of like some areas near the office and the parking.
I had to question you on this, Reggie, but you're sure it's October?
That's what I'm looking at right here.
Only because I thought I saw.
They had a work day this past weekend, but there's another one scheduled for October.
Okay, I know they were out, I thought they were out dumping gravel
This past weekend.
yesterday or today.
That may be
matter.
true, but either way,
Okay,
that's
good,
what I got.
good enough. Sorry to interrupt.
That's it.
Anything
That's
else?
all I have.
Okay, Laura?
Okay, I have a bit of a list. So the first thing is Library Volunteers Day. And Library Days, people know. And library has a Volunteers Day coming up on Friday.
We'll probably get more people, no?
Whoever is unmuted, please mute. Because we can hear you.
Okay, so the library does have two volunteer days coming up, and that's at the new library building, Friday, September 23rd, Saturday, September 24th. If anybody can go help the library, there's a morning shift, kind of 10 to 1, an afternoon shift 1 to 4, pizza in the middle, I think donuts and coffee at the start of the day. So you get a little food and you get to help. I think what they're doing, there are so many things left in the building that they're undoing tables and countertops and I see Linda's nodding her head. So if I get it wrong, Linda can correct me. So anyway, so they have tables, counters, whatever was left behind. People are undoing them. What's going to be kept is going to be put in storage. What's going to be not kept will be put someplace else. But a Volunteers Day, again, Friday, September 23rd, Saturday, September 24th. If you can come between 10 and 4, come whenever you can and come get some pizza at 12:30. So the other big news for the library vote is happening on October 6th. Trustees plus budget, 12 to 9. So do remember the library vote on October 6th, trustees and budget. I believe the trustees are unopposed, but it's extremely important. As I think people know, I'm a supporter of the library. I want to go vote to make sure that the budget passes. It's extremely important that all those who support the library come out for the budget. So that is a big deal there. So that's the library. Other things happening. I talked about Terramore before. I've been in, and that's the campsite in Saugerties. So with a lot of concerns. And I've been reaching out to people trying to get county or state or whatever because we can't tell us peer town what to do. But I did get some really good advice from somebody who's DEP, who has no governance at that area, but they're very knowledgeable, who said the best way to approach it is through the seeker. Go look at the seeker, see where they're not complying with the seeker, because that's the law where we can have some teeth. So I'm still reaching out, but I'm communicating that that's the advice there. Water District Wellhead Protection Overlay, that law, a while back, we got the Ulster County Planning Board input from their review of the document. I just hot off the press right before coming to this meeting, sent off to the board and everybody else who was involved the updated map. We took the water team that I had decided that we would take the Ulster County Planning Board's recommendation, which was take the protected area that we sent them and anything adjoining, any adjoining property that's in the flood hazard area, add that to the protected area. So Bennett and Arlene and I work with Judy Kerman. So we were the mapping subgroup of the water team. We did create a new map that shows the map that I sent out as a detailed map looks a little like this, where it's got some red, it's got some yellow. The red is the original, what was sent out to the county. The yellow is what we added based on the county's input. Plus it has detail of the Horsley-Witten Mitten that we're protecting and the Cuomo Aquifer that we're protecting. So this is the detailed map, hoping the town board will look at it and say, do you agree with the outer line? If so, Judy will create the map that officially goes with the law, which is all red and white, red if you're in, white if you're out, including SBL numbers. So anyway, I sent that to the board just before this meeting. And the law needed to be updated to say, here's the new description of the boundary. I added a paragraph to describe this addition. So I sent the law, I sent the map. You all have it right now in your inbox, hot off the press. And let me know if you like it, because I get Judy to do that last piece if you like it, and we'll get that moving. I think the next step is public hearing. So that will be good news to get that moving along. I don't know if we did, but Judy
Okay.
is a member of that planning
Okay.
board. I'll be amazed. Their only feedback before was give us a map,
We have not heard that.
the Woodstock.
Yeah, no.
Officially.
On that.
I-
on that map, yeah,
Officially, we have it.
yeah.
Well, they just got the map. Everybody just got the map. I included Peter Cross. So the world now has the
No, but
updated.
on the previous one.
I guess I figured since Judy was part of the planning board, we could, we could go back and double check. But in any event, Peter Cross was on the email that I just sent with the latest map and the latest the paragraph that I added, that I redlined on page 3. So the next topic is telecommunications law, which went to the Woodstock Planning Board and the Ulster County Planning Board. Just also hot off the press, got feedback from the Ulster County Planning Board. So I haven't had a chance to investigate that, but I'll look into the recommendation. Any change I make, I review with Andrew Campanelli, the lawyer who authored this. So in any event, I'll be looking at Ulster County Planning Board's update to the telecommunications law. Housing Oversight Task Force, I just want to give an update there. We've been meeting weekly. Much appreciate everybody. Everybody got the Housing Oversight Task Force proposed law, the 300 pages plus additional documentation back on June 1st. Everybody has had the opportunity to give input to the zoning updates email address, and Housing Oversight Task Force leaders and some members have gone to different board meetings and committee meetings. So between going to different meetings and between seeing what people documented as input, right now, the Housing Oversight Task Force has been considering everybody's input and making final decisions on what the right answers are of how to include things. And Nan, our writer, our author of this update, has been on our calls. And so she's in the process of preparing version 2. So a lot of great input, a lot of really introspective work by the Housing Oversight Task Force, and version 2 is being created.
Thank you, Laura. I mentioned earlier before the start of the meeting, and I meant to mention it again. I meant to mention it several meetings. Occasionally, you will see me on my phone, and I really do think that that's rude behavior. But I want to assure you that the only one I'm communicating with is either the town clerk or that who's ever running the meeting. In this case, Melanie. Just so that I don't have to interrupt it and speak that way. So I am paying attention, and it all is meeting related. So I hope you'll indulge.
Oh, and one more thing, I guess I will send to
You're
that.
only 5 minutes.
I know, I will send to the Housing Oversight Task Force. We just approved the library law, so I'll make sure that goes in, so that doesn't get lost. We don't want to have an update that doesn't include it, and a notation the CA is approved, so I will be making sure that they know that.
Excellent. Bennett.
Thank you. I've been working with the tree committee to help them develop a budget that they can present to the town board. I know that several of the committees are very interested in presenting budgets to the town board, and the tree committee is one of them. I've also been working with the CCD, who is interested in preparing a budget as well for the town board. Along with the tree committee budget work, I just want to say that they're beginning to use the money that was moved over from the artist fund into the tree committee's an agency fund to purchase trees that they will then be planting. They're very excited about that, but as we all know, there's also maintenance that is required with those things, and they're looking to have that in an annual budget. The CCD is looking to update several of their brochures and things that they send out to various chamber members, as well as area businesses, as well as new residents who are seeking to make changes to existing structures, and they're going to be budget that they'll be presenting. In addition, the CCD asked me to their meeting where I sat and listened to a presentation by them about that they did show me, and it is a application, not a courtesy, that remains open on the Comeau property. I think we need to schedule a time to get the CCD in here to present their findings on this open application that the supervisor made and has still not been resolved. Critical environmental areas. I'm just really pleased to say I see several members of the CEA who are in the audience right now and other environmental activists. And I'm just really proud to have been a small part in helping to move that forward and thank all of the CEA members for all of the great work that they did. I was just like a small part of such amazing work that people like Arlene and Julia, who I see right here, did. I see Ken as well, thank you. Everybody who worked on that. Am I missing something?
Well, Alex, who's
Alex
not
is,
here, but
Alex
did a
is
ton,
not, Alex is not here.
But did a ton.
Yeah, she did do a ton of work on that. I also wanted to thank the Firehouse for hosting us when they did. I wanted to remind everybody that it is also homecoming week at Onteora. So if you are an Onteora supporter this weekend, you can go and watch Onteora. I would suggest JV volleyball.
Not that you're biased.
I am very biased.
Fathers are allowed to be
Very
biased.
biased.
Wish them good luck for
Thank
Woodstock.
Thank you very much. I did want to give a shout out to, as you already did, to Judith Kerman, who's really working on a map that does at the water well head protection, and just she's done an amazing job for that, and been working with Laura and with Judith on that,
And Arlene
as well as
was
Arlene
part of our mapping.
on this map, and it is a really it's a really difficult job, and she's done it fantastically. I have an open invitation and have yet to take them up on it from the Housing Oversight Task Force. We are looking for a date for me to sit down and to go over my thoughts on their recommendations. I know that Deborah and Kurt had a couple of dates, and I'm going to get back to them on that. I just think it is it's imperative that we do something about our housing crisis, and I think that some of the recommendations they have are going to be excellent solutions to some of our problems. I think that's about it.
Just have one, any updates about the review of the noise ordinance, that task force?
You know, I was really disappointed that we were not able to do anything. I came and spoke to you about that, and you showed me a May 25th permit. Turned out not to be a permit at all, and that you had given to the Bearsville Center. I asked the attorney to look at it, and he said not at all. I still don't know what to do when I see bogus permits for noise law.
Bogus in your opinion?
It's not bogus in my opinion. It is not signed by the town clerk as a permit should be. There's no reason to have a
Okay.
noise law.
So you've done nothing?
No, I've done, I have also looked at what is the resolution that nullifies the zoning law. I know there are a lot of people who think that there are zoning changes that govern the noise law as well, and those don't. Those, and people should know about that as well. In fact, there were hundreds of people who went changes, and are signing petitions
Mhm.
for zoning law changes, when in fact it's not the zoning law at all, because a resolution has nullified that.
Yeah,
And you know that,
yeah,
and you have not instructed people like
I
Linda
absolutely-
Lover,
I absolutely did.
that this is,
We had a great meeting the other day, in fact.
well, in fact, the people who were there at Colony did not know this.
Mhm.
And what you're doing is you're impeding the on the noise law by putting bogus permits out. It is bogus. What you did was
Okay, thank you, Ben.
absolutely bogus.
Okay, thank you. Maria Elena.
As a liaison to the STR task force, the town board has received a few times in the last couple of weeks, recommendations that we will need to submit any input. We need to discuss the process, what the next steps are for that.
So why don't we talk about that for a moment as a board?
Mhm.
I've talked individually,
Mhm.
and it sounds like most are willing to or interested in sending this off to the
Housing Oversight Task Force,
oversight
yes.
task force,
Mhm.
and that we would consider sometime in November or early December, where we would have a public discussion at a
So do
meeting.
you want the Housing Oversight to go over that first before the town board?
Why
submits
don't
any?
you send that to the oversight and with the understanding that we'll be addressing it at the end of November, December, in the form of a public discussion.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah,
thanks.
and part of the timing of that is because the Housing Oversight Task Force is right now heads down on the version 2 inputs. And so once they get the decisions made and then the consultant is writing, then they may have some free weeks to focus on that. So like I know next week we're doing, the Housing Oversight Task Force law, but then a couple weeks later, we'll probably have some time to.
so you want to wait for them to submit their, whatever recommendations or whatever.
No, it's just
And
that.
then the town board will then
No,
look
I think
over
so.
everything, or
No,
like, what's the
no,
order? I'm
because
just
version-
asking what the
because-
order is.
So you send it to the committee
Yes.
with the understanding that in the end of November or early December,
Mhm.
the town board will be scheduling a public conversation about it. Whether they get a chance to finish up their review or not, because I know a lot of people want to talk about it,
Right.
and they're welcome to come to that. I mean, that might be part of their review.
So is that when you all will then submit whatever, when we have a public? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So no discussion prior to that?
That would be the discussion.
Okay.
And I think. what
Just so I
you-
understand the timeline.
Right,
Okay.
okay.
I have some more, so
Go
I'll
ahead.
just finish some of this. I reached out to the housing committee and asked them to also be prepared to submit, again, a request to have a line item for the housing committee in next year's budget. If you all will recall that they had come and done a presentation and had asked for that, and everyone, I wasn't on the town board just yet, I was deputy, but everyone said that they would consider that. So I reminded them that that's coming up, as well as having a budget ready to submit. Home Share Woodstock, we just had a 3-week-long Looking Ahead Lunch and Learn series, which was received very well. We had Susan Copenhaver from Office of the Aging, who gave a presentation, as well as a discussion about Medicare and safety at home presentation, which was the 3rd presentation. And that also leads me to the next subject, which is the dishwasher for the student center. I'm sorry, for the community center. This is for the senior lunch program that we'd like to have once a week for our seniors.
And as I mentioned earlier, the town electrician plumbers looked at that.
They looked
and
at that. That's
is-
great.
is
Thank
gonna
you.
prepare an estimate for both the plumbing and electrical installation.
Okay. Do we need, but what about carpenter?
That we can do in-house.
In-house, okay. I want to thank Linda Lover and I want to thank Bennett for collaborating with me and trying to get this expedited, which is fantastic. And also Earl B. Fiden, folks over there, they're working with the town as well. And our hope is to have a continuation of learning sessions so that each week when we have this lunch program, we can offer something for our seniors, and it will be just continuing education about what services they're entitled to and whatnot. But it's, as well as a social, lunch experience for them. Lastly, I met with Senior Rec Committee, looking at what the needs will be for the upcoming year. They're looking at adding a new yoga class. And also I asked them as well to start preparing their budget for the town board once we have everyone coming together for that. So that's it.
Excellent. Okay. Public be heard. I have 5 slots filled.
Yeah, you didn't put out anything earlier, and I want to ask a question.
What's
There's
the
no sign up.
question?
She's saying there was no sign up for public
Yeah,
hearing.
right, yeah.
What's the
so-
question?
So, last week, you mentioned you were gonna have a resolution to schedule a public hearing for the updated ethics law, and I did not see it.
Totally slipped my mind. I'll do
But I wouldn't notice.
I'll do it on the 3rd. Yeah.
Well, again, I won't be there on the 3rd. I don't know if you need me for that.
No, we'll do it at the next regular meeting.
When's the next regular, it's the second Tuesday, right? That's not the third.
Second, yeah. Tuesday.
Well, sometimes we don't have a meeting in October
Will be the
because
next regular meeting, whether it's
So you're gonna do
the
the
second,
resolution now?
no,
Oh, you're gonna do the resolution at the
I'll
next
prepare,
meeting?
yeah,
it'll be the 11th
on
or
the
the 8th.
3rd.
It'll be the, okay, never mind.
Yes,
won't-
I got it, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. 2 minutes a person, Lisa. Start my clock.
I'm gonna stand here because maybe the Zoom people can see me.
Yes.
Maybe not, I'm not sure.
Well, the camera's that way.
Hold on, let me angle the camera a little. Okay, you're on.
My name is Lisa Kolish, and I'm part of the Woodstock STR Association. Non-owner occupied STRs like ours have no impact on long-term affordable housing. We use our home when we can, and therefore it will not be a long-term rental. And there are many others like us. My family has owned our home, a 2-bedroom home on Yerry Hill Road for more than 45 years. My parents participated in many local activities. I got married here in Woodstock, and my first son was born in Rhinebeck. We are part of the Woodstock community. My husband and I love the area, but we had to move elsewhere to make a living. We come to Woodstock when we can. To afford the expense of maintaining our home, we obtained an Ulster County Certificate of Authority, began renting it short-term, and paid taxes on all our revenues. After 2 years of part-time STR rentals, during the pandemic, soon after my mother passed away, we received a cease and desist letter from the building department threatening us with fines, imprisonment, or both. Can you imagine 45 years as community members, bringing paying customers to local businesses, employing local people to manage and care for our home, and we received a letter threatening to throw us in jail? Is this the kind of Woodstock we want? Properties like ours, which are owned, where we specifically own them so that we can come here when our schedules permit,
10
are
seconds.
not candidates for long-term rental. If you want to address affordable housing, prohibit STRs that could actually be used for affordable housing, like multi-unit dwellings. If you're concerned about corporate investors buying properties for the sole purpose of
Time,
renting
Lisa.
them, one moment, as STRs, prohibit LLC owners and multiple permits. We request that the board honor the 2019 law that provides 340 STR permits and make all of them available to owners regardless of owner occupied
Thanks,
status.
Lisa, you're way over now, thank you. Michael?
Hi, my name is Michael Henry. I also have owned a home in Woodstock since 2004. Raised our 3 kids here on weekends and summers. They learned to swim here. They learned to play tennis here. They participated in the Easter egg hunt and Santa on the green and all the other parts of living in Woodstock, the library fairs. We started renting short-term rentals from time to time, and those weekends, when we couldn't be here in 2008. So we've been renting short-term rentals for 14 years with no problems. One that we registered Ulster County, we pay taxes. We don't own multiple houses, we're not investors, but we do want to come here when the kids are grown and flown and make this our permanent full-time home. Now that is in jeopardy because of this arbitrary cap that has no basis in any economic or statistical analysis to come up with a number that makes this cap relevant. Further, the non-owner occupied houses are not the issue. This house will never be an affordable rental. It will never be an affordable house. If we have to sell it, it'll be sold to some rich downstate hedge fund guy who's never going to be here. All right. Now, the other thing is by creating a cap, you're creating an artificially high and inflated asset, valuable assets that would probably auction for tens of thousands of dollars because it's a difference between someone like me staying in my home or not. So yeah, I would pay $10,000 for a permit. And what is the board, not you, but the system has made it a very untransparent, arbitrary, random seeming system of who gets the permits. It opens the board and the town up to all sorts of suspicions of cronyism, corruption, and fraud. It's the same like when you have illegal drugs, police departments get corrupt because you have an artificially valuable asset that is going to be the target of people who desperately want them, all for no avail, because it's not doing what you say you want to do anyway. If you do need a cap, it needs to be transparent. There has to be either some wait list or lottery or limited terms, so it's a fair process.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, we have our 5. Came late. Next is Patrick Dennis, who's online.
Thank you very much for letting us speak. We are owners of a home since 2015. Our situation is a little unique. My wife Cindy and I, we had one of the original STR permits, and we sold that home and literally moved 5 doors down the street. Our neighbor was selling their house and we purchased it. We had, prior to there being a permit process, had, like some of the other members of the association that we're a part of, rented our property when we weren't there. It allowed us to have it, as Woodstock is a place that we've fallen in love with and we want to settle. Our career makes us bi-coastal. We still have responsibilities in Los Angeles, which is why we're on Zoom today. But we've been good stewards of the STR previously. We've used an attentive property manager when we haven't been there. We're very hands-on owners as well. We've employed all local vendors and local people to help us maintain the property. Our property as well would never be a long-term rental because it's our home. When we're able to be there, we're there. And it's not really an affordable housing place. It's a large acreage and a beautiful large house. But while we have been renters, we are now abiding with the new house. We do not have a permit. We are abiding by the 30-day minimum, which is very difficult to find renters. And in order for us to be able to finish our responsibilities on the West Coast for the next few years, we need to be able to still rent our house. So we would like the opportunity, as many of the people here we've become a part of the community. We care about our impact on the community. Our entire time as renters with short-term guests, we never had any complaints. We made sure we followed the guidelines to the law before there were any guidelines.
Time, Patrick.
So I would like you guys to reconsider the cap itself. So thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Dan Gottesman?
Yes, I'm also one of those impacted by the STR permit snafu during the pandemic, especially by the limited publicity at the launch, the permit numbers reduction, the moratorium, and the long drawn-out process to reopen the permit applications to those of us who were already renting legally our homes with an Ulster County permit and paying appropriate taxes on the revenues. So today what I heard again was another 2 months, 3 months. If the town had, rather than told us they were going to throw us in jail, said, we're going to fine you $1,000 a month for each month you're in violation, we would be in similar or better financial situation than we are today, having missed out on the rental income. Yes, to us, the impact of this situation and long drawn out process is equivalent to being fined $1,000 a month or more or less. I request that you, each of you on the board members, please prioritize approving and implementing a fair and just new STR policy. There's been wonderful advice from the committee. Further, I request and suggest that you approve STR renting with only Ulster County permit until the new law can be approved and implemented. This could be approved with a voice vote tonight at tonight's meeting, stopping the bleeding that many of us are experiencing. The delay in resolution of the STR tonight has just cost us another $2,000 or $3,000. So thank you for scheduling a public hearing in November. And please let us start renting now, and then we'll rent until the appropriate resolution after the end of November or December or January or February or March or April or May or whenever we manage to get this thing resolved. It's not fair to be holding us hostage and charging us $1,000 a month.
Thank you, Dan. Last but not least, Paul Hopkinson.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I just want to echo some of the concerns that have already been laid out by some of the other public speakers. My wife and I moved here only in 2020. We love being full-time residents here and good neighbors. We absolutely adore this town. We knew when we came here that the issue of STRs was under study and consideration, and that the pandemic has made all such studies and considerations more difficult than it should be. The reason why I'm here today is to say that I have a complete application for a non-owner occupied STR, and I'd really like you to consider giving me the opportunity to have that application be processed so I can purchase a permit. Thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Paul. So I ask each of you to, just keep in touch at the last meeting in January, or excuse me, in November, first meeting in December. We'll have this on as a topic where everybody will get an opportunity to speak, and we'll go round and round and discuss it more and discuss the recommendations that came from the task force. So with that, I'll make a motion for adjournment.
Can I ask a question?
Quick question.
You had mentioned that there might be a chance to have input on this issue to the Housing Oversight Task Force, or that there had been.
Their recommendations are going to the housing oversight.
What about the recommendations of the Woodstock?
We were told several times.
Okay,
Oh, sorry.
yes, thank you.
We also have
So,
recommendations.
I have to say one thing.
Mhm.
I am a member of the Housing Oversight Task Force. I heard everybody. I will share the comments.
Mhm.
We
Motion
like
to-
the opportunity.
Lisa, please. We listened respectfully, and I've listened respectfully every time you call and come into the office, and to you, Michael. Motion to adjourn,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.